Well, hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Holly with the Nestle Valley Farmhouse, and today I want to do a little, I call it kind of catch-up homemaking, kind of catching up over Christmas and over just all the crazy weather we've been having. And I also kind of want to talk to you a little bit about like ways that I avoid burnout as a homemaker. So I'm starting off by throwing my dried beans. This is the best way that I found to make dried beans. I basically do a soup bone that I get from the butcher, and then I put 2 cups of, right now it's pinto beans, and then it's 5 cups water with a bunch of different seasonings. Kind of, you can add whatever you want, and then I cook it on high for about 6 hours, and it makes like the perfect beans. And as always, gotta have little kids helping too. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about ways that I have worked on avoiding burnout. So it is really hard for me in the, I guess, winter months, especially January, February. I've always just struggled those months. All the excitement from Christmas is done and over, and normally the weather is less than desirable. Where I live, it's really rainy, really dreary. Like we can literally go like a month without a sunny day. And so it can be really hard on me. And of course, I gotta have my protein coffee too. This is one of my kind of pick-me-ups I do. I do drink decaf coffee because of just caffeinated coffee just gives me anxiety, and so I just drink decaf, but I still like that like coffee flavor, which I know sounds hilarious because I used to hate coffee as a kid. But yeah, so I'm just gonna blend up protein powder, a little bit of milk, a little bit of coffee in my bullet, and then basically that's what I drink. Is kind of like my coffee in the morning. And I put a splash of creamer in it, and then normally we're good to go. So I think honestly doing iced coffee sometimes makes me feel better too. It's just kind of soothing, and it reminds me of warmer, sunnier days. So today I got like a ton of laundry to do. We've had snow days, we've had just so much going on with basketball and stuff. So I'm really trying to find ways to like get the things that I've been wanting to get done for a while. Some of the things you'll see me do a little bit later are basically things that I'm trying to do every quarter. I'd like to do it once a month, but truthfully, it just doesn't always work out that way. So the first thing that I try to do whenever I am avoiding burnout is I try to build in more rest, or I think you've probably heard the term like margin in my day. So I keep a planner and I do my best to kind of follow it every day. I try to get things, I write down everything that needs to get done, and I write down our schedules, and I try to like check things off each day, because I feel like having that like visual reminder to me just really helps me stay on task. But there's some weeks where it's just hard. And this was a hard week. Basically, we had snow days the week before, and then this week the kids actually had a day off of school because of semester break. And I don't know why they didn't just make that a snow makeup day, but I'm sure there's some reason. So it was just like, so the kids were home a lot more than usual, which does make it difficult to kind of stay on top of things, because I'm generally pulled in a bazillion different directions when it comes to them. So when I have a week like this, what I normally do is I normally just try to do the bare minimum. If all I get done this week is just the basics, you know, vacuuming, dusting, cleaning the bathrooms, the way my schedule goes is I try to touch each room about once a week. So like each room gets cleaned up, vacuumed, whatever, once a week. And then that's all that I do. So right now I'm doing something a little bit extra, and I am actually wiping down all my cabinets, because I basically used some OxyClean and made a water solution out of it, and I'm basically just wiping down because my cabinets get all steamy, they get all whatchamacallit, and it's just easier for me to just wipe them down I'd like to do it once a month, but I probably do it once every 3 months. And it's something that I like doing just to be able to get kind of get on top of things and just keeping my cabinets looking nice. And so when I'm having a rough week, this is definitely not something that I would normally do. I normally focus on just getting the basics done. It's really hard sometimes for me, like I said, in the winter months, to be able to just stay on top of things. So I find myself very focused on just getting the basics done. And if I need to have more rest time, then I take it. And a lot of times, normally after I go through about a week of that, I'm kind of somewhat refreshed and ready to kind of jump on and kind of get back into my normal routine. But I feel like just adding a little extra, even if it's like, you know what, this week I'm just only going to do X, Y, and Z, it just makes things a whole lot easier for me. I feel like the cabinet right in front of the sink is always the worst, so I always have to like extra scrub it. And I'm also wiping down all the appliances, just trying to get everything I can kind of cleaned up. Like I said, this is something that I do about once every 3 months. I wish I did it more often, but you know, I only have so much energy and capacity to do things. And of course, over the summer, I feel like my schedule changes because all the kids are home, so that's generally when I have to do a better job of like working around everybody's schedules. So another thing I like to do, of course, is wipe off the light fixtures. They get so dusty, and of course right there at the door, and all the dust comes in, and like I said, it's just been, and now we're in mud season, I jokingly call it, because it's going to be rainy pretty much until March, maybe April. We'll start having more sunny days, but it's pretty common around here, and we just have so much. I mean, we have grass in the backyard now, thank goodness, but like when we first moved in and you know, we didn't have any grass yet, it was horrible. I was like doing this so often because everything was just getting so dusty. So I feel like getting the dust off really helps too, with all the different, you know, my kids are pretty good with like, I noticed that I get a little like allergen symptoms, I guess, if I have too much dust in the house. So I feel like this is a way, and I do have an air purifier too. So that's kind of how I kind of keep the dust down. And then of course, dusting the top of all the picture frames too. So another thing that I do to avoid burnout is I break things down into smaller chunks. So sometimes when it comes to like the living room, it's like, okay, well, I need to pick up, vacuum, and dust. And sometimes I might just pick up and vacuum. Sometimes I might just dust. And sometimes breaking it down into little jobs, or even what I do sometimes is like I will do this much until this time, and then I'm going to go take a break. And a lot of times if when I make my to-do list, if I literally write down every little detail that needs to happen, and I'm checking off, so like, you know, 3 things happen in the living room, then that makes it a little bit easier. I feel like it flows a little bit quicker. And a lot of times too, each thing doesn't take me very long at all. Also, our lampshades get super dusty, so I have to dust those too. And now I'm spot cleaning the walls and the windowsills, just kind of wiping off any dirt or grime, because my kids like to sit in the windowsills, and it's a collecting spot of dirt. And you can see this is pretty typical of winter in the Pacific Northwest, just really foggy, dreary, just kind of blah right now. But you know what? It's okay. It's only a season. So another thing that really helps me too, that I've been leaning more into, and I do this with my kids as well when I need them to help me clean up things, is I start setting a timer even for myself. So I might set a 5-minute timer to, okay, in 5 minutes, I'm going to do as much as I can in the living room, and then I might take a break. If I'm really, because obviously we also go through a lot of sickness this time of year. So, you know, it seems to be the time that everyone gets colds, everyone gets sick in some way. And so it's like, if I can just do like in 5-minute spurts, that's what I do. There have been times too where like I'll be watching like a series on Netflix or something, and I'll watch this episode, and then as soon as this episode is done, I need to do like X task. And then once I'm done with that task, then I can watch another episode. And it kind of helps me stay motivated, and then I kind of have that reward after, like I clean, you know, like I'd say I'll watch one episode and they're like 30 to 40 minutes, and then I can go like vacuum the living room or just tidy up, and then I can do go back and watch another episode. So that kind of helps too with kind of the reward centers, if that makes sense. But I started doing the same thing with my kids, and I feel like it's really helped with them too. Just kind of, I find it, I've done a lot of decluttering in my living room, and I'm obviously going to be like attacking other rooms in my house, because I want to get to the point where it's like it takes me maybe 5 minutes to pick up, 10 minutes to pick up, and not have to worry about doing, you know, like not having to worry about like it taking an hour to tidy up things. I think the playroom is going to be a big one I'm going to tackle. I have these toy boxes that I bought from Amazon. I like them because they have lids on them, and they do have like dividers so you can kind of organize them. But my kids, I love my children, but they like just put everything in one big box. So I'm like, you know what, that's fine. We'll just have a big box where everything goes in, and if they lose something, well, then they have to check the big toy box. But I like that there's lids on them because it keeps cats out, and I think it just makes like the room look a lot cleaner. So the last thing that I generally do is just understanding the season. Like, I know that this season for me is really hard. I struggle, I don't like saying it, but like sometimes I feel like I struggle a little bit with like seasonal depression. And so, and for me, it's not like I'm sad. It's just like I have no motivation. So I feel like I have like no motivation to do much of anything kind of during, like I said, January, February. And one thing that I feel like has helped me, number one, basketball has been helpful because it forces me to get out, to socialize with the parents and just like have kind of something going on. And I also feel like it makes kind of those 2 months go by quicker. Like we're already at the end of January, we're halfway through basketball season. And I feel like I've done a better job of like staying kind of more active during this time than I normally would. So I think just kind of understanding like the seasons, like in the seasons of life that you're in, like when you have really little kids, you know, you might not be doing more than just the basics, and that's okay too. Like everybody goes through kind of seasons where it's easier or harder to like get things done. And I think sometimes there's that fear of like social media or whatever, where they feel like if they take a break, then they're not doing a good job. And I think that that's one thing that like I really don't want people to take away. I want people to understand that like it's okay to be human. It's okay not to always have it together all the time and always be able to like stay on top of everything. Like it's taken me a long time even to get to this point where I'm at. And I think that, you know, now that my youngest is a year old, it really has helped to just be able to like get back into that mindset of like wanting to keep my home nice and tidy. Well, thank you guys so much for coming along with me today. I hope that gave you some encouragement and some good tips. And I will see you guys all in the next episode or the next video.